edition of Stupid Politics. My name is Melissa Lineberry, and I'm the host of the show. And we have been wonderfully, Attorney General Greg Zoeller is going to be with us. But first, I'm going to let my panel introduce themselves, and then we'll let Mr. Zoeller say a few words, and then we'll start asking some questions. So, go ahead.
Christine Schrock. I'm from the Fort Wayne area, pretty involved in politics in the last year, and a supporter of him.
I'm Sonny Schrock, the fortunate husband of the person on the other side of Greg Zoeller, and have also become recently involved in politics as a precinct vice chairperson.
And I'm Jim Martindale, precinct committeeman for Springfield A here in Allen County, and very excited about having Attorney General Zoeller with us. He was here in the downtown library for a press conference this morning, and we are just so blessed to have him join us.
We ran down there and kidnapped him.
Not at all. No, I'm very happy to be with you, and appreciate it. You know, with the title of Stupid Politics, though, I had to kind of ask a few questions, not knowing whether the joke was on me.
I want to be on this.
It's pretty intimidating, but when I heard that former Congressman Zoeller was on, I knew it had to be a great show.
It's just because politics can be so stupid that we used it.
It has its moments.
To bring the comment, we're trying to get more people at the grassroots level. That's what our show was aimed at, so that we could get good people in office. I think a lot of the people that I worked with last year that voted for you, that's where they came from. So,
well, I applaud the grassroots. You know, I had started my career with Senator Quayle, who was actually a congressman from the Fort Wayne area, originally from Huntington. So I served 10 years both in the Senate and the White House. So I've spent a lot of time up in the Fort Wayne area. So I'm very familiar with a lot of the people up here and some of the, I won't call it stupid politics, but I'll say the politics of what used to be the old 4th District and is now the 3rd Congressional District. So I've spent a good deal of time, and I think, you know, from my perspective, Fort Wayne has really been the heart of a lot of the grassroots politics in the state. Senator Quayle was very active among a lot of Republicans, a very conservative Christian community. So he was very active with what I would say is the grassroots politics of Indiana, and I think I've been pretty tuned into it myself. So I'm glad to be with you, and I'm glad to talk to some of the people that are of like mind, you could say.
Well, let's just start with, I don't want to put you on the spot, like, do you have an agenda for the year, or tell us what's going on first in your neck of the woods?
Well, I was sworn in on January 12th, and just to give you an idea of how this works, you know, you have to have your bills presented to the legislature on December 15th. So they start you off by putting you at somewhat of a disadvantage. I'm not sworn in until the next month, but I had to have my legislative proposals put together. So we had a pretty modest set of proposals that mostly focus on the role, the authority of the Attorney General, but I do have a pretty specific agenda. Over the last 8 years that I've served in the office with Attorney General Carter, I'd served as the Chief Deputy, so I know quite a bit about this office. And really, I think Attorney General Carter has done an excellent job of raising the level of public attention to public protection of consumers. So things like do not call, do not fax, some of the consumer alerts that you hear about. So he's been very good at protecting Hoosiers and raising the level of our involvement with consumer protection issues. Part of my agenda is to take that to the next level. So there's a lot of things coming through the internet, through other sources. So we have scams now that come across text messages on phones. So there's a lot of new variations that are threats to consumers that I'm going to have to focus on. But the other part of the office, and that's the one I'd like to talk a little about, is that the role of the Attorney General that a lot of people don't understand is that we serve all aspects of government as the attorney for the state. So by that, we obviously represent state agencies, the governor, the courts, the prosecutors. Everybody who has a role in state government is essentially a client of the Office of the Attorney General. But we also have a role in playing the attorney for the sovereign state of Indiana vis-a-vis local government and vis-a-vis the federal government. So my background in Washington in the Senate and in the White House for 10 years, I think really puts me in a good position to defend and protect the sovereignty of the state of Indiana. Now that's somewhat of an awesome challenge, because the federal government, having been kind of let loose over the years.
Get back in the cage.
Every time you say sovereign, you know that we fall in love with you a little bit.
I'm in the foxhole with you.
Well, I hope that's the case, but I think a lot of people lose track of the fact that, you know, the United States is based on the compact, the Constitution that brings the sovereign states together. So I'm very sensitive to the things dealing with preemption. A lot of my colleagues that are attorneys general around the country, one of the big issues, we always look to see how federal government's role either preempts state action or intrudes upon the sovereignty of what we feel is the responsibility of the state. Particularly if you think about it, you know, the basic responsibility of the state, health, education, and welfare of its citizens. Now, you'll remember not too long ago, we used to have a Department of Health, Education, and Welfare.
And one department.